It's hot out there, but let's blow them off the line of scrimmage. Headline, offense.
This is RamView, the December 10th, 2025 edition, brought to you by Kistler Law Firm. Injured in an auto accident? Need help? Got questions? Call Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. That's Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. And check out KistlerLawFirm.com. Click on that QR code, KistlerLawFirm.com. Kistler Law, they've been fighting for you since 92. And by Temple City Auto Repair. Having some auto issues? Get yourself some John and Henry at TempleCityAutoRepair.com. And of course, sports ball games. Make game day funner for you and your crew. Play sports ball. Play for a hill of beans or just jelly beans. And of course, game day in the Ram Cave, penned by yours truly, a fictional NFC championship game between the Rams and the Packers at SoFi. Man, you guys better make this a bestseller when that comes true in January. All right, we are here. Rams getting ready for one of their bigger games of the year against the Lions, making some roster moves, doing some different things. And so it's time just to look and see. We're going to give our absolute game prediction on Friday. Rams are going to win this game, I believe, but how it's going to come is really interesting. The Lions aren't chumps, right? The Lions know how to win. The Lions are a legit team. No matter what, they always try. Every time there's a loss, the KBM always tries to paint Dan Campbell as at best an alpha male and at worst as some Neanderthal. And this guy deserves a lot of respect. His teams play hard. His teams play tough. And he's changed the culture there in Detroit now, that where there's an expectation and talking about Super Bowl window and what's their next move is going to be. Brad Holmes, former Rams executive, became their GM and helped organize that trade between Goff and Stafford that's worked out for both franchises. This is a legitimate franchise, right? And just looking at them right now, there's a lot to talk about. So we'll get into that here in a minute. You know, everyone's still pushing Stafford MVP, talk about Stafford saying, hey, if I'm healthy, I'll come back next year. I didn't know how to take that in the sense that, what does that mean? Right? Win or lose a Super Bowl. Healthy, he'll come back next year. Of course, everyone's that way, right? I know we're clinging for things and dying for information, but yeah, of course, if he's feeling well, that's if he's not feeling well, why would you want to come back when you got more than 360 rocks and 4 daughters to raise, right? So I didn't think that was that big of a deal. They're trying to turn the Puka videotaping in or broadcasting in the locker room. Yeah, he shouldn't have done that. I'm just not going to worry about it until it becomes something to worry about. People are trying to make that a narrative. I saw some news. It looked like fake news that the players are required to wear some pride bandages or armbands this week, and Nakua refused. I mean, if he did, great. That's cool. I think it's wrong in the NFL to force their players to take on social, always. I do. I mean that. Social issues or political issues. That's not what you signed up for. If the player can't advocate a la Kaepernick, then the organization can't force the player to advocate, right, for what they want. And it's a job. My job is to play football. So I struggle with that. I don't know how true that was about Nakua, but we press on, right? All right, Rams-Lions. I feel like how it's going to break out. Willie Bowen, thank you for joining us. I think how it's going to break down is the Lions are going to get theirs. The Lions are going to get theirs. This is an extremely dangerous team offensively. Between David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jamison Williams, who's being overlooked, and of course, Amon-Ra St. Brown. The Lions are going to get theirs, right? And so although I don't think it's quite the same offensive line, the pass rush for the Rams will have to do more than just bring pressure. And I think it's this one right here. Let's look at this one. Is it that one? Yeah. You look at this. I got them set up in their 11 personnel for the Lions. These are the matchups. I don't know if it's going to be Josh Wallace on Amon-Ra St. Brown. That could be a different matchup when the game starts. But this is what it looks like. That line is not the same, so it is vulnerable. And the defense has gotten away, the Rams defense has gotten away with bringing pressure basically the last month. But they haven't been finishing enough, and they need to finish because this will be a test, right? And so that's a huge one going forward. Gibbs obviously is playing like the best back in the league. They do not have Sam Laporta. If you're interested, I pulled this off of Pro Football Focus, PFF. I pay for a subscription, so I don't have any qualms about, taking a screenshot and posting it here. But if you look at them, you see greens basically all across the board here for Rams defensive players. Forbes, of course, is jobbed because they just don't know how to grade very well. And I think Fisk is underrated as well. So this Ram defense is up to the task. But you know what? They got to finish. They've got to finish, and they're not finishing enough as of right now. Let's see. Let's go back to this. Let's look at a couple of your questions here. I like this. What did Steve say? On Puka, some guys you just hold the bus for. There you go. Right? He's not going to be around long, guys. Appreciate Puka while you have him. His style of play does not lend to a long career. ESG. Hey, Pastor Joe, thank you for the gift from your Mets. Edwin Diaz passed close. Oh, wow. Yes. Okay. I'm really happy for you guys. Kick a dude while he's down. But something bad's going to happen to the Dodgers. It has to at some point, right? Yes, the best closer in baseball. I knew what you were saying there, Chief. Micah Gutierrez. Yes, the Lions are injured, but they play tough. I'm expecting another stressful game. And let's be grateful. This game against the Cardinals was not stressful. Not in the least. We got what we asked for. Once in a blue moon, a game that doesn't cause us to go to the pack of cigarettes, right? So let's be grateful. We got Tim Burns, the great Tim Burns. Got to worry about Williams at wide receiver. Has become a go-to guy in Detroit. When Amon-Ra was down, he was awesome. Absolutely. I think Williamson, his career got off to a slow to rocky start, but he's had an exceptional year. And credit, because I believe at the end of last year, Brad Holmes and the Lions, they locked him up because they knew what they had, and he's paying dividends right now. He's dangerous. They're all dangerous. Amon-Ra scares me a little bit more because he's the quicker release for Goff to go to. Hence, they got to get home. They've got to get home. Rams could lose this game, and you shouldn't be, too upset. I'm not saying you shouldn't be upset depending on how it plays out, but this is a legit team. This is a legit team that you got to respect. Willie Bowen, Gibbs is going to encounter Landman. I hope so, Chief. But, they run Gibbs in the passing game too. He is just a dangerous cat. Again, I think the Rams are going to win this because they got to counter with what we have. But that's a dangerous offense. Let's see here. USA Expat, last home game set an attendance record. Let's keep it going. 75,000. I did not know that. Wow. All right, let's keep rolling here. This is the Rams. I'm sorry, my bad. This is the Rams on offense. If you notice the greens across the board, wouldn't it be marvelous as PFF was always right? Look where they ranked those Rams offensive linemen. McClendon, Jackson, Avila, Dotson, Shelton. Do you believe it? Do you trust it? How do you feel about that line, right? And here's where it's going to be a real test. Alquidin Muhammad has become a little bit of a counter, a bookend for Aiden Hutchinson. And Muhammad and Hutchinson will be a great test for Alaric Jackson and Warren McClendon, right? Because this is a have-to game for the Lions. They have to keep pace with the Bears and the Packers. They're going to be coming out for blood, and we're going to find out what level we're at. I think we know Alaric Jackson is a full NFL left tackle, and I think we're close to saying that on Warren McClendon at right tackle. But if you look at the grid here, who's going to be lining up over Warren McClendon, right? It's going to be Aiden Hutchinson, and that is something really to keep an eye on. Those guys do their job. That'll be nice. The one I'm interested in is they have Aleem McNeil and DJ Reader in the middle. And this will give an indication how far the Rams have come since Philadelphia. You know, they've been getting Philadelphia, got huge clicks out of Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis week 3. And what has been my fear about the Rams is Coleman Shelton's smart enough, right? He's good enough, but doggone it, he just ain't big enough, right? He's just not a bruiser. And Aleem McNeil is a legit DT. DJ Reader was at 335 pounds of nasty. Not saying he's a Hall of Famer, but I'm just saying this will be a great test up the middle for Avila, Shelton, and Dotson. Dotson's street cred in terms of being an inline run blocker and defender, I'm not worried about Dotson. It's Avila and Coleman Shelton, and mostly Shelton, that I'm worried about right now. And I think it's going to give us an indication, quarterback talk aside, because we'll be talking quarterback until the time Matthew Stafford retires. But quarterback talk aside, this will give us an indication on what the Rams' needs are, because if they can't get a push in the interior, we know that, okay, you got to upgrade from Shelton. You need to be thinking about an upgrade from Avila, right? I think Dotson will supply a push, but guess what? Avila and Dotson are both in their last year of their contract in 2026. So the Rams could be looking there in the 2026 draft. This game could be a great indication about what will take place. I'll get back to this in a second. Let's see here. Let's see. Willie Bowen. Joe, have confidence in the LA Rams. I do, Willie. I hope you're out of the hospital, Willie. I hope you're out of the hospital and the vertigo's gone away. But I do have confidence in the Rams. It's just you can't take it lightly, right? Mikey Gutierrez, biggest X factor, in my opinion, will be the defensive line in both the pass rush and the run stopping. That's the other side of it. I feel comfortable. I feel comfortable with Puna, who's nursing a calf, Tank Davis, Kobe, Braden, all those guys. I feel comfortable with those guys. I really do. It's when it's just, you know, can Landman come up and Spates come up and make the plays, because we don't want to see Gibbs at the second level. And again, we've talked about it, right? We just want to see some finishing. We just want to see some finishing in regards to getting home and sacking the quarterback. And you got to sack Goff, right? You got to sack Goff. Detroit is 3-3 on the road. They're vulnerable on the road. ESG, totally believe you. Totally. I'm right there with you on that one. Right there on that. Let's see. Pick on cornerback Robertson. You look at that secondary, even DJ Reed, these guys are all vulnerable, right? You know, you see Kirby Joseph is back there, but they're going to try to stick in Avonte Maddox. They've lost Brian Branch for the year, right? Now, their linebackers are pretty good. Campbell and Anzalone, Khalif Barnes. These aren't bad linebackers at all, but this team is vulnerable. If Aiden Hutchinson can't get home, if Mohammed can't get home on Stafford, there's going to be issues here. There's going to be issues there for the Lions going forward. Let's see here. Jesus, where the hell is Atwell? Has he been activated yet? I think we saw the moves the Rams made lead us to believe he will be activated. Yeah, you know, I got a text from my brother this week saying Atwell's got to play. Atwell's got to stretch that defense. Atwell's got to be there. I know Xavier Smith's been doing that, but let's get Atwell out there. Why would you keep him, right? Willie Bowen, everyone say, welcome home, Willie. All right, Willie Home is out of the hospital. Good for Willie. The great Tim Burns, St. Brown is walking wounded. Gibbs is getting lots of touches. You know, I took the Cowboys because I thought Amon-Ra St. Brown was walking wounded. I did. I paid for it with a loss because Brown looked great, and he's had 10 days off, Mr. Burns. So yeah, I don't know if I'm going to drink that one. I'm not going to say cheers on that one. Let's keep rolling through here. So Lions are without Brian Branch. Thank goodness they're without Sam Laporta. and first round pick last year, Terry and Arnold, are all out. They're all out. As of right now, everything looks healthy and solid for the Rams. Everything just is trending in the right direction there health-wise. There's no red flags. Rams put Nick Hampton, fifth-round pick, Appalachian State, a few years ago in the street. You know, the two guys they drafted, Nick Hampton and Ochaun Mathis. Remember those guys? They put them both in the street. Let me look that up real quick here because I thought it was interesting. This was the 2023 draft, and the Rams drafted those guys late in that draft. And, you know, everyone is talking steal of the draft. Let me show that to you here. I'll pull that up. They also released tight end Nick Muse, who was just this insurance cat they signed when Higbee went down, but they brought in Vanette. Let's see. Look at this. I tell you, man. It's unbelievable what you can do with this stuff. This is pretty cool. All right. Let me drop that puppy in there. Get my mug out of the way. All right. This was the Rams draft in 2023. And you see what they did. Home run Avila, home run Young, home run Turner, right? What are those guys? Look at their numbers too. Top 100 picks, right? 36, 77, 89. Jury's out, although we feel better about Stetson Bennett being a number 3. So that's okay. But Nick Hampton just got put in the street. But look who's starting at right tackle right now. The 174 pick. Now, again, think about that. In 2022, the Rams drafted Kyron Williams in the 5th round. In 2023, the Rams drafted Puka Nacua in the 5th round. If Warren McClendon becomes another starter, the Rams actually just completely own the 5th round of the NFL draft. Also, you'll see in there, Davis Allen was a 5th round pick who the Rams are getting clicks out of. Okay, Trey Tomlinson's gone. Ochaun Mathis was just recently cut, I think, by the Browns. Ethan Evans is in there. He's a starter. Oh, and all the rage this week, DeJuan Johnson, huh? Did you hear people talking about DeJuan Johnson quite a bit? Now, it was against the Cardinals. It was kind of mostly in garbage time, but DeJuan Johnson got back on the field. And I'm just presupposing here they moved him from DL to edge, and I'm just presupposing here that DeJuan Johnson performance made them feel okay in moving off Nick Hampton. So, again, just wanted to show that there for you guys to see. Tim Burns, Stafford isn't losing to Detroit on a Thursday night, but you're right. It wasn't a Thursday night. You saw it, Mr. Burns. I won't correct you. As of right now, Bill, I do not know if anybody picked up Nick Hampton. I liked Ochaun Mathis better than Nick Hampton. I thought he was bigger. I thought Nick Hampton in 2023, with the few snaps he played, I thought he looked a little overwhelmed. Give him credit. He hung around and such. But, you know, there was just never anything about Nick Hampton that said, wow, right? And you always hate to see someone go. But I kind of like the story of Mr. Irrelevant beginning to get an opportunity with the Rams. So something else there to talk about with their draft. USA Expat. Note to Stan K. Pay raises for all the coaches if they stay. Absolutely. All right. Steve, the great Tim Burns congratulates Willie on getting out of the hospital. There we go. Let's get these things in here. Also, if we win, we clinch the playoffs. I saw that. That's cool. I'm happy to clinch the playoffs, but the Rams are going to the playoffs. It's about where, you know, and honestly, the only thing that I feel uncomfortable with in terms of the playoffs is just weather. Now, Stafford is an all-weather quarterback. That works. I'm all good with that. But, you know, this is a Ram team that, you know, on a fast track is going to be just fine, right? It plays to our strengths if we're in a fast track. We don't need to slow the track down. We want the fast track, right? So I want them to be playing in SoFi. And I heard people talking about, you know, there's no home field advantage. That's true. But the Rams are used to that. That's okay. They've been used to being outnumbered in their own arena, in their own stadium, because this is what Rams fans are. This is what the Rams have cultivated in the last 10 years. And it's going to be like that until they wake up and smell the pizza. Appeal to the San Fernando and San Gabriel Valley. Stop focusing on the west side, and you'll get some legitimate Ram fans. All right. Looking back, I'll say it again. This is where the Carolina loss, this game against Detroit, becomes beneficial. No one wants a loss, but that Carolina loss shows you how slim the margins are, that a team that's very mediocre can beat you. And again, if the Rams had pulled that game out against Carolina, how many of us would have been talking about how crappy they played and why they left the door so wide open for a Panther team, right? We wouldn't have been focusing on that enough. No, they got their bell rung. They blanked around and they found out, as people say. They came out and took care of the Cardinals, and I have to believe they are not going to overlook the Lions. That Lion game can't be a trap game because, and I'm not saying because of the Higbee situation and the Higbee injury with Kirby Joseph. I'm saying the Rams lost in the playoffs to 2023 against Detroit when if they had had a kicker, they might have won that game. And I'll say this, that 2023 playoff run, the 49ers were lucky they got a young Packer team and a young Lion team because they struggled against both. If the 49ers had played the Rams at Levi in 2023, the Rams would have gone to the Super Bowl that year. That's how good I thought that Ram team was. Just didn't have a kicker, didn't have a secondary rusher. And then in 2024, right, we saw that game. Rams went back and forth. I talked about Kobe Durant. If he just held on to the pick, that might have worked out different. But then they went into overtime, and then Montgomery and that offensive line just dirt roaded the Rams in overtime that led to the Lions' victory. So I don't think the Rams are taking anything for granted. I think they're going to be focused now, and I think they're going to be focused on Thursday night next week. I think it's, if there's no injuries, I think it's kind of a good thing they're playing the game so quickly, less time to think about it. Sometimes you just got to react. And so I like the Rams this week. I'm saying it right now. I might change it on Friday. Rams 31-27. So there we go. Okay. Let's see. Bill, what's my view of the Puka locker room incident with his benefit? You know, I have my first daughter, very mature, right? Very, very mature. My first daughter, my other daughters, and not so much, but who are beautiful and all that kind of stuff. We know that. But my first daughter didn't act like, when she was 7, she acted like she was 10. When she was 10, she acted like she was 13. When she was 13, she acted like she was 17, right? And when she was 20, she acted like she was 16. Anyway, but there were moments when she was really mature. She just had moments where a 10-year-old acted like a 10-year-old. And I had to be real careful about not coming down too hard on her, because as she exceeded expectations, sometimes she was going to act like a kid. Sometimes she was going to have a 10-year-old emotion when she was 10 years old and not always have that 14 or 15-year-old emotion. And I think this with Nacua, the Rams, it was silly. Okay, it's silly, especially when your teammates ask you. But I think given his character and probably the deep dive the Rams seem to do on all their guys for character issues, they probably had a conversation afterwards, said, bro, be cool. And he goes, you know what? That wasn't cool. I don't think this is an issue. I think a salivating kiss butt media wants it to be an issue. They'd love for it to be an issue because this Rams team isn't good enough for the local media. The Rams are boring. No one gets arrests, right? No one gets beaten up. No one's arrested in a bar. No one's got a paternity suit. You don't hear about any of those things. And so the media, being the media, is always looking for something. So they would love for this to be a thing. And I just don't think it's that big of a thing. It could, if it blows up, it blows up. But I think by and large, Nacua is a good dude. And he had a 26-year-old moment or a 25-year-old moment. Did you have a moment when you were 25 or 26? I think we all did. So I'm not too worried about it becoming too difficult here. So too difficult for the Rams in this game or in terms of this becoming a big issue. Jesus, Kevin Dotson is a great tone setter for our line. I wish I could say the same about our D-line. I think we all want just that tiny bit more from our D-line. I agree. I'm not arguing with you on that. Red meat. I think we just want a little more red meat out of all those guys in the trenches. I really think so. USA expat. $1 million question. Does Aaron Donald want another Super Bowl ring? Homeboy should want another Super Bowl ring. You know, even if he came in and played 12 snaps, right? Just to have some nasty, just to have some mean, just to have some, I'm not taking anything, right? Just to have some, I don't know. Yeah, just some nasty in the locker room. I wish the dude would come back, right? Heck, if Phillip Rivers can come back, man, why not Aaron Donald, right? Why not Aaron Donald? Marketing Pro. Hey, thank you for clicking on. I don't know if we've connected before. Be sure to hit like and subscribe. Joe, the Rams have been to 5 different Super Bowls. Which one was your favorite? Well, you know, what sticks with me emotionally the most is Super Bowl 14. That one sticks with me the most because the Rams weren't given any chance in that game. And I remember, you know, the Rams beat the Steelers, who won a Super Bowl in 75. They beat them that year. The Rams beat the Steelers in 78, who won a Super Bowl that year. And this was largely the same Rams defense from those seasons. And the Rams' struggles in 79 were on the offensive side. And the Rams had them. The Rams had them. I've spoken to legitimate Steeler fans, and they said of all their Super Bowls, that was the one that scared them the most because it felt like it was going to happen. And if not for a bummer with Cromwell dropping a pick 6, but Eddie Brown, without play action, with Stallworth out of the game, Eddie Brown doesn't drop back. This is the one that sticks with me the most because I can tell you play by play every emotion I felt that day. I did enjoy Super Bowl 34, but I'm going to say 56. 56 might be my favorite just because it happened in Los Angeles. Small Ram LA bias there. It happened in Los Angeles. And the other aspect of that is Stafford, right? Stafford. What can you say? Stafford. It was just no one to throw to but Nakua. Everyone, then Cup. Everyone knew it was going to Cup. A no-looker in the fourth quarter with the game on the line. You're trailing. Final drive. Heaven's Gate, Hell's Flames. Man, it was just awesome. So I hope that answers it for you. Emotionally, Super Bowl 14 will always live in my head. I loved Super Bowl 34, but I do lean 56. There we go. Hope that helps. And I hope you like and subscribe. Bill, do you think Rivers signing will influence Donald to come? Oh, Phillip Rivers signing will influence Donald to come out of retirement? I don't know. But if a 44-year-old guy can come out after the beating Phillip Rivers took, you know, I guess it's a decision that Aaron Donald has to decide if his cup is still full, right? I don't think anybody would care if he says, hey, you know what, I'm coming back. Maybe Ty Hamilton would because it might cost him his job. You know, maybe somebody else might, maybe Bo Limmer would because it might cost him his job. But yeah, that one is difficult. Super Bowl 56 was my favorite. Go Willie. There you go. Because it was in Los Angeles and it wasn't SoFi. Let's see. I think we got them all in there. All right. I think we got them all in. Cool. Let's keep pressing on. Where was I? All right. I like the Rams 31-27 as of right now. Okay. Hey, just a reminder to be sure to check out our sponsor, Kistler Law. Check on that QR code. Get the compensation you deserve. And, of course, sports ball games. Be sure to check them out. Awesome time to check them out now. And really for your Super Bowl party, if you're looking for a way to bring your crew together on game day without gambling stress or fantasy overload, try sports ball games. Free pick'em and squares, live leaderboards and bragging rights built in. One click and you're in. No fees, no spreadsheets, no headaches. Just sports fun your whole group can enjoy. Whether you're cheering from the break room or the backyard, sports ball games makes every game day a team event. Play for fun, brag for real. Probably my favorite line. And of course, game day in the Ram Cave. Game day in the Ram Cave. Man, I heard on the radio today, Colin Cowherd said he likes the Rams and Packers in the NFC conference final. Couldn't that be awesome, huh? You guys need to make this one a bestseller. Game Day in the Ram Cave is a book about Ram fans trying to get together without riffraff, without jinxes, without those people that glom on and destroy the viewing experience. And in this one, they're playing the Packers in a fictional NFC title game. Make this one a bestseller. I'd like to take my wife out to dinner. Can we do that one? That would be really, really cool. All right, guys. Around the NFL and other places, yeah. Besides Mike McDaniel giving the Dolphins a real problem, it's funny. Maybe he just loosened up figuring I'm going to get fired. I got nothing to lose. But who would think that Mike Tomlin would be more likely to leave Pittsburgh next year than Mike McDaniel, right? In Miami. Raheem Morris and Pete Carroll, the Falcons are no longer in the playoff hunt. And I think that really plays a part, right? That really plays a part. I think those two guys are gone. Philip Rivers, great story. Riley Leonard looks like he could start this week. Brett Rippon's in house, and Philip Rivers. I think, wouldn't it be awesome? Philip Rivers, what's the thing missing on his resume? And it's not going to happen. We know it's not going to happen. But what if he came in and guided the Colts to a Super Bowl, right? What if he guided the Colts to the Super Bowl? Philip Rivers was playing the way he was in 2020. This team would be a Super Bowl threat. That's how good Philip Rivers was playing down the stretch. But it would be the best story. I'm there for it, man. I'd be cheering all the way for the Colts until they played the Rams. But that would be a great story. And then the guy just exits, and everyone has to rethink how they view him in terms of Hall of Fame. And I'm the guy that even shared that Philip Rivers is more of a, how would we call it, a Veterans Committee selection in about 10 or 12 years. So keep an eye on that one. Bucks officially activate Mike Evans and Jalen McMillan. Raiders designate Colton Milton to return. You're 3-10. Your season is over. Actually, you're 2-11, I think. Your season is over. Don't even put Colton Miller back out there. He's a veteran. He's proven himself. Just give him the runway to get into the offseason and totally stay healthy. Oh, and by the way, did you hear this, Taxskin fans? Jaden Daniels is not playing because of the aggravation he did to the banged up elbow, which we said to Dan Quinn, this is how Dan Quinn becomes unemployed again. Don't play the kid. He had already missed action 3 times this year because he had injuries. And now you put him out there, and a 4th time he went out of a game. Preposterous. Just absolutely preposterous. Shut the kid down. Speaking of former Rams, Wyatt Bowles signs with the Cardinals. Browns release O'Shawn Mathis. And former Rams safety Jordan Fuller signed with the Falcons. All right. He's been back and forth there. So let's post this. This is who's in and who's out right now. Let's post this in terms of playoff, and then we'll compare it to the schedule. All right. Do you need my face in there? Do you want my face in there? There we go. Okay. Feels better now. All right. Someone can say, I can see you, Joe. All right. We got Falcons and Buccaneers on Monday night. Falcons are out of the playoff hunt. They're 4-9. They are officially eliminated because if you look at the records of these teams in the NFC, there's just no room for them. Falcons don't have Drake London, but the Buccaneers getting back Mike Evans and Jalen McMillan. I think the Buccaneers snap back and win this game. But you look at this here, Rams, Packers, Eagles, Buccaneers, Seahawks, 49ers, Bears. Bears were number 1 going into last week. They fell all the way to 7, and there's what sparks the debate. The record of some of these teams, like 8-5 Eagles, 7-6 Buccaneers. Buccaneers need this win over the Falcons. I think they'll get it. Eagles, what? That free fall is starting to hit hard now, right? Media in Philadelphia is questioning Jalen Hurts. I've said it. I don't think Jalen Hurts is a bad quarterback. But when Jalen Hurts gets moved around, Jalen Hurts is not as effective a quarterback. And whatever it is, the offensive line is not as strong. Saquon Barkley, after close to 500 touches last year, is not as strong. So the Cowboys, believe it or not, have a shot. Now, the Cowboys this week are hosting the Vikings at home, and they'll put a dagger in the Vikings for this year. I hope J.J. McCarthy plays well. It upsets everyone's apple cart if he does. Cowboys will finish off the Vikings this year. And then the Eagles are hosting the Raiders, so they'll get the win. So it might not be enough, but an Eagle collapse. Whoa, huh? Packers are playing Where are the Packers at? The Packers are going to Denver this week. That's a huge one. 9-3-1 Packers going to the 11-2 Broncos, and you see the Broncos are in the number one spot there in the AFC. Big game. I like the Packers in that game, actually, to tell you the truth. I think at some point the Broncos and the Patriots, who I think are really good teams, I just think it's a year too soon. I just think it's a year too soon for those teams. Let's see here. All right. Mike Gutierrez, from your mouth to God's ears. Amen. All right. Let's see here. Bill, any change? Rivers plays on Sunday. If the Seahawks get beat by Phillip Rivers, then we've totally overestimated the Seahawks, right? Paul says go Rams, right? Let's see here. Bill, if we get the second seed, I will not hate playing the Bears at home. No, I want to play the Bears. I just don't want to go because there is an advantage. There is an advantage for the home team to go to Lambeau, and there is an advantage for the home team when you go to Soldier Field. We really do want them to stay home. I don't care about the noise. Rams are always going to be a road team, so I don't care about the noise there. Let's see, Browns at Bears. We like the Bears in that one, obviously. And didn't we say it? Didn't we say it a few weeks ago? And I think it's not that we were Nostradamus on this, but at some point they were going to accuse of the Browns of racism or something, trying to destroy Shadur Sanders by playing him. And sure enough, that's all come up. If there's any ridiculous bait to be grasped, Shannon Sharp will do it. Ravens at Bengals. Ravens make me sick. I'm sick of the Ravens, right? So I'm rooting for the Bengals in this game. And I think the Bengals are going to beat them. I do. I think the Bengals are going to beat them. Ravens defense isn't that good. Lamar's old. It's on the road. Joe Burrow's getting his stride back. His receivers are still there. I'm taking the Bengals at home. All right. And then you've got the Jaguars and the Jets. Yeah, we know what that is. Then we got the Chargers at the Chiefs. Chiefs last hurrah. So you can see the Chiefs are not listed there at all. Chargers looking to go 10-4. Packers, Broncos, we talked about that. Raiders, Eagles, Texans, Giants, nobody cares. Lions at the Rams, we talked about that one. Panthers at Saints. Panthers have life, but I think the Saints can beat them. I think the Saints are slowly finding themselves. Colts at Seahawks, we just talked about that. We're going Seahawks. Titans at 49ers. If we need from our lips to God's ears, we need the Titans to win that game. That would be great. And then finally, Dolphins at Steelers. Steelers are still in the playoffs at 7-6, and I think they are going to the playoffs. They are, right? So I have a feeling for the Steelers. It'll be one of those things where it's all about winning record and first-round bounce, right? Winning record and first-round bounce. These are the teams that are still in the hunt. Lions should not be discounted. And again, the Lions are in an awkward spot there, right? Because the Eagles and Buccaneers have to go. But look at the records. You got the Seahawks with 10 wins. Frisco's going to get their 10th win. Bears are going to get their 10th win. And so if the Lions lose to the Rams, they're 2 games off the pace. So they're in trouble. Panthers' only hope is to win their division. And the Buccaneers control their fate there. Cowboys' only hope is to win their division. And so that comes down to the Eagles. Of course, they got a gift in the Raiders this week. And then the Vikings, they're toast. They're a long shot anyway. But they'll be done by the time the game is over with the Cowboys this week. You see the Colts there, right? Yeah, I will say that. Rams mob, the way Phillip Rivers sounded in his press conference, seems like he's going to play. Well, there's this great line from a John Wayne movie called The Searchers, right? And he goes to this Comanche reservation, this Comanche camp, and they're supposed to be trading when they know their adversaries. And John Wayne says, I don't stand out here talking in the wind. And I don't think Phillip Rivers would come back to hold a clipboard and be an emergency quarterback. So as weird as it sounds, I think he's going to play, right? And this could be like the football version of the last Rocky movie, right? So man, wouldn't it be awesome? Wouldn't it be marvelous? I don't know the shape of the Colts offensive line right now, but Yeah, wouldn't it be awesome? Colts are still alive. Colts have life. Ravens don't. Chiefs hanging by a thread. I just don't see a path for the Dolphins. They're not going to win their division. And, of course, the Bengals are everything but mathematically eliminated. You got the Texans who got 8 wins already. They're playing their best football. The Bills have already won 9 games. So when you look at this, and then the Chargers, they're already got 9 games. When you look at this in the bubble, the only team that really, really stands a chance, right, maybe is the Colts getting in because they've already got 8 wins. But that's going to take a Jaguars and or Texans collapse. So long shot here. Phillip Rivers strikes me as something kind of funny because he has to know it is a complete long shot to get this team over the hump. So, yeah, there we go. How do I say this? I do believe the Packers are a good team. I've been really hard on them this year. I think the Rams can beat them. I don't think there's anybody in the NFC the Rams have to fear. It's just a question of will they come out and perform? And the question is that front line. The interior of the line is what scares me the most. Pony Express, thank you for joining us. Hope you like and subscribe. The Rams need to win out on their remaining schedule to control home field advantage through the playoffs. Absolutely. Look at that again. Look at that again, you guys, right? Rams got 10 wins. The Packers, I like it against Denver. That's 10 wins, right? You got the Seahawks. They're going to beat the Colts. That's 10. That's going to be 11 wins for them. 49ers are going to get their 10th win. As quickly as the Bears fell from number 1 to number 7, something similar could happen to the Rams given this weekend. So no, Pony Express, you are absolutely right. And this is the good news, right? Because this does keep up the sense of urgency, right? This is the good news. It keeps the sense of urgency that, yeah, you clinched a playoff spot. It doesn't mean anything though, right? I look at these teams right here. I don't want to go to Lambeau. I don't think we're going to have to go to LinkedIn unless we're a wild card team, where the Eagles, is LinkedIn where the Eagles play. Tampa doesn't scare me in terms of going there. Seattle, the Rams have won 2 playoff games up in Seattle, right? That's not an issue as much. And then, 49ers, I don't think are going to win the division, but that's there. And then, of course, the Bears. I don't want to go to Soldier Field. So still a whole lot of football to play in terms of how it all falls. But you're right there, Pony. I think that's something we all should keep in mind. The NFC is so far its way superior this year that they can't lose focus. Great point. Let's look at Micah Gutierrez. Boom, Micah. Let's see here. Starting Sunday, we have to play 5 days to play our best football all season. I think so, and I think the Rams are there for it. I think they're there for it, absolutely. I'd love to hear your opinion of what I thought. I kind of like the fact that it's a Thursday night game. I like the fact that it's a back-to-back. There's no room to whine, no room to consider, no room to second guess. We beat the Lions, and boom, you got to go play up at Lumen Field, right? And if everyone's healthy and doesn't need like an extra day to rest, then we're going to be okay in that regard, in the health issue. But are you guys for that or against that when I say that this might be a good thing that the game has to be turned around and played so quickly? And of course, coming out of that, the good news coming out of that is the Falcons and the Cardinals are all that remain. The Falcons and the Cardinals will be all that remain, and the Cardinals will be at home. So, yeah, we get that Jimmy G start in there. We get, no one playing. Maybe Stetson Bennett gets some work. I don't know. But is anybody against that? I'm willing to hang out here for another 5 minutes. We're coming up to the 50-minute mark. I try to go 50. I'm all there for you on that one. Ooh, got something on my cell phone here. Someone trying to get a piece of me. No. I'm not doing that. Okay. Well, I thought it was Cronky getting on my case. Anybody else? All right. Let's look through this real quick. Rams put Nick Hampton in the street. think they liked what they saw in Deshaun Johnson, the former Mr. Irrelevant, also part of that 2023 draft. Do you want to look at that 2023 draft again in case you guys joined us late? The Rams scored with Avila, scored with Young, scored with Turner, scored right now with Warren McClendon, scored with Puka Nacua, Davis Allen, scored with Ethan Evans, and right now DeJuan Johnson. Right? That some of that stuff's pretty good. If you're getting clicks out of Mr. Irrelevant, that's a pretty cool thing. I think that's a really cool thing. Let's look here. All right. Mike Gutierrez, I think it will be a good thing motivation-wise. The Rams sure don't want to lose 2 Thursday night games to divisional opponents. No. I think I said the Rams could lose 2 division games this year. I had already factored that into the budget that the Rams could be 4-2 in the division. And you go back and they should be undefeated in the division right now if you go back to that loss. So that one frustrates me a little bit, but yeah, I think it's good. I think they'll be focused. Willie Bowen, Jordan Whittington should get his first reception TD. I'm gonna make that a note. If Whittington gets that, I'm gonna say it's for you, Willie. Rams mob. Colts will upset Seattle. That's my bold prediction. I will be all over you in praise, Rams mob, if the Colts upset Seattle, right? That game, by the way, I think it is in Seattle, right? I wasn't even paying attention. Yeah, no. Where's that game? Help me, somebody. Where is that game? Colts at Seahawks. Yeah, I was kind of hoping against hope that it was in Indy, but it's not. Let's see. Pony Express. When in Tutu coming back? He should be activated. I think the expectation is he's going to be activated this week. It would be really weird to put Muse on the practice squad in the street, who was signed by the Jets, put Nick Hampton in the street, and then you got an opening and you don't bring back Atwell. That would be really weird if they didn't. But that opening on the practice squad leaves room for Hampton to clear waivers and circle back to the Rams practice squad. And I would think Tutu Atwell would be the guy. Word about Quentin Lake is, as McVay was talking before this week and this week, I think it was that not necessarily for the regular season. And honestly, Rams get through these 2 games without Quentin Lake. I really don't want to see him against Atlanta or Seattle. Even if he was totally healthy, I don't want to see him against Seattle. Let's let him get healthy for the stretch run, right? Let him be our rich man version of Eric Weddle in the postseason in 2025. Let's see, Bill. If Colts lose and Rams beat the Lions and Seahawks, do Rams win the division? Well, let's look at their records here, and boom, let's take a look at that. Right now, Rams are 10-3, Seahawks are 10-3. So if the Rams win, and let's just say the Seahawks win, right? I don't know if the Colts, you're suggesting the Colts beat the Seahawks. They fall to 10-4. We improve to 11-3. Then we're still sharing the division, and I'm sure we'll have other tiebreakers in there and such. So no, I don't think there's anything that's going to happen this week that takes the pressure off. But yeah, so yeah, I honestly, my fear is, and it's not even a fear, it's what I believe is, I don't think we're going to get to week 18 with everything wrapped up. Now, I think we get to week 18, we might have our division wrapped up, but I think we get to week 18, you'll still have to be playing for keeps to get that home field advantage, right? And I don't know if it's a home field advantage to get the travel advantage, because Rams never have a home field advantage. So yeah, I think it's going to take a little bit more than that. It sure wouldn't hurt though, right? It sure wouldn't hurt to see the 11-3 Rams beat the 10-4 Seahawks and make the Rams 12-3 and the Seahawks 10-5. That could be a huge one there, right? Either way, you're still going to have to play the game for keeps in Atlanta, and I'm not worried about that one. But that would probably send Raheem Morris to the unemployment line, which I'm good with. All praise to Raheem, but it's about the Rams, right? All right, guys, I think we've done it. I think we accomplished what we wanted to accomplish. Nothing significant with this date in Rams history. Let's look around here. I think we got it. All right. I like the Rams right now, 31-27. I have right to change that. I like the Buccaneers tomorrow night, and we will see you on Friday. God bless. Be sure to like. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to check out Game Day in the Ram Cave. I like the name of that guy. All right, guys. God bless. We'll see you soon.